I talk about this web scraping method a lot. It's intercepting the network requests from the front-end site to the back-end API and then mimicking those requests. And in this video, not only am I going to show you how to do that, I'm going to show you how to find which headers you actually need, and then I'm going to show you how to reliably get them each and every time using a stealth browser. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up the DevTools. I'm going to come over to network, and we're on this site here, this page. I'm just going to load it up. And we're just going to find the API call that we want to make ourselves. How you do this on the site that you're looking at is up to you. The best way to do it, in my opinion, is just to start clicking around and looking for things. So I'm going to go and make this one here. Right, so we found it. So to me, this one has a good response of products, data, prices, and everything. So this is what we're going to want to do. But if we go ahead and just copy this URL and paste it into our browser, you can see we're getting authentication denied. Now, quite often, that won't be the case, but when it is, we need to figure out what it is that's stopping us. What do we need to be authenticated? So this video is sponsored by Proxy Scrape, friends of the channel, and they're proxies that I use myself. Whenever I scrape data, I'm always behind a proxy. It's just necessity these days to be able to rotate through IPs. Now, I pretty much always use residential ones, but there is use cases for the data center proxies too. You just need to figure out what's going to work best for you. I've actually been using the mobile proxies a lot too recently and found them to be pretty good, especially when you're utilizing them within the country that you're expecting to scrape. Very easy to add them to your project. I use a environment variable just to pull mine in and add it in. So I don't have to worry about anything like, making sure that the credentials are there. It's all done nice and neatly. And then you just let Proxy Scrape handle the rest for you. You can choose to rotate them if you want a new proxy every request, or you can have the sticky sessions, which keeps hold of the same proxy for a few minutes for you, which also can be pretty useful. And something that I would potentially consider doing in the project that I'm working here, although in this case, I'm just going to rotate through the mobile proxies. And also, any traffic you purchase is yours to use whenever, as it doesn't ever expire, which is a nice touch too. So if this all sounds good to you, go ahead and check out Proxy Scrape at the link in the description below. Now let's get back to our project. So I'm going to do this here. I'm going to come over and I'm going to go and I'm going to do edit and resend. And I'm going to move this over a little bit and then bring this one out here. Now, right away, the eagle-eyed amongst you will see that there's this client ID and client secret down here. This has been generated by my browser when it's loaded up the page. So if I was to go ahead and click off these two and then do send, you'll see down here, our response is authentication denied, which is what we got with when we made it in the plain browser. So if I was to put, I think it's just the client ID back in and send again, now we have the response. So we know that we need to get this client ID header, whatever this is going to be able to make the request properly. So how do we do that? Well, we need to go through a browser, right? So we need to load the page up in a browser and find this client ID and get it and then add it to our session so we can then make the requests that we need. So if I was to come over here and if I copy this, copy as curl, and I come back over to my browser and we do curl converter and paste this in, you'll see that we do have a load of cookies and we also have the client ID here. So to do a demonstration, I'm going to copy this out and I'm going to put this into my code editor real quick, and we'll just have a quick look at this and make sure it works as we're expecting. And then we can just double check, what we need. So let's open this up and save. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to blast away all the cookies. Yeah, so we're not actually putting the cookies in if we remove them here, but we are going to put the headers in. So we'll do print. And this is all me just figuring out what we need to do, right? So response.json. So if we run this one, LV edit. Okay, so this is the data that we actually want back, right? Say that, for example. So we know from this example that we don't need these cookies. These cookies are not relevant to us getting this information back. And that's really important because if they are, you need to include them. But if they aren't, you can just omit them completely. So what we want to do now is we want to build up our code and a project that we can actually make one request to the main site with our browser, with our stealth browser, and then capture those cookies and headers, or just the headers in this case, and then load them into a request session. Then we can then make that session with all those requests. So like I have here, I'm going to create a session that's going to have these headers in with this client ID. Every time we run it, we will get a new ID, blah, 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 etc., etc. So it will work for us, and we can then make one lot request with the browser, which takes a while, and then we can make subsequent requests to this API, however you want to and however you decide to. It depends, whatever website you're doing will depend. This one just looks like it takes in a group of product IDs, which is fine. We're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on how to get the actual product and actual headers in. So I'm going to create a new project in my projects folder. We'll just call this one LV edit. And I'm going to cd into this folder. And I'm going to do pip3. We need to do a virtual environment. So we'll create our virtual environment. And the tools that we're going to use for this, we're going to use requests, but we're also going to use this this stealth browser here. I'm going to do a separate video on this, just because I think it's really powerful, and I think it's possibly the best one I've seen so far. It talks a lot about, there's some really good information on here. The only thing that I'll say is, when it comes to stealth browsers, everyone's kind of got their own way of doing things, and eventually, the ways that you get around it with the stealth tend to get patched. So this is open source, so that brings the benefits of it's free to use. You can use it whenever or wherever you like. But it's also, if something changes, it's just up to the one maintainer to fix and patch stuff. But for me right now, this works really well. So if you're struggling when you use stealth browser, definitely try this. So we're going to do, we need to activate our virtual environment, and we'll do pip3 install, and we'll have this, and I'll have requests and rich as well. So one of the good things about CamoFox is that it's built around Playwright's API. So anything that you can do in Playwright, you can do with CamoFox pretty much. So another thing I'm going to do differently here is I'm actually going to create a couple of different files. So I'm going to have an extractor class. I'm going to put this in here, and then I'm going to have my main.py file, and I'm going to call that extractor. Now the reason why I'm doing this is that I want to separate things out, because I want to be able to build upon this. So everything that I put inside this class that I will then access, you could do separately if you wanted to. So let's open up our extractor class, and let's import in what we need. So we're going to create our extractor class, and then we're going to initialize it, and we want to give it some information to initialize the class with. The first one is we want to have a class session object, because we want to be able to update this session with the headers and the proxies that we're going to be pulling. So the proxies from my environment variables and the headers from the requests we're making. So this is my proxy that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using my mobile proxy, the UK version. I think these are one of my favorite ones at the moment. They're much harder to block because there's such a wide use case in those. And then I'm going to say, if it doesn't exist, or if it does exist, we do this. And then we want to do our headers from browser method. So what this is going to involve is going to be loading up the page using the CamoFox browser. Then we're going to create some handlers to actually pull the requests out. And this is like the standard kind of Playwright way, if you've ever seen that or done something like that, we create a handler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the letters API inside the request URL. So when we load the page, that page is going to create a request through XHR. It's a XHR to the backend, and that's going to have the keyword API in it, which we saw over here. This one here, API. So when we find that, we're going to update the headers. We're going to pull the headers from it, and then we're going to go through each of the header items, and we're going to create, a little list here, and we're not going to include these ones. Now this is important, because if you include set cookie this way, you're going to get an error, because it won't be formatted the right way. If you want to do cookies as well, you have to do that through the cookie jar, I believe. And then I'm going to update our session with all of the headers. So what this code is doing right here is it's just going through all of the headers it finds when it makes this request, and then it's going to turn them into a key value dictionary and update our session. Then we need to attach our handlers to our page that we've created through our CamoFox, which is essentially Playwright. Then we're going to go to our URL, wait for load state, and reload. Now I had some issues here, and I don't know if this is typical or whether this is going to be like something that happens a lot, but I had to basically reload the page, go to it first, and then reload it, which was interesting. And if I didn't have this, it didn't work. It didn't actually catch those API requests. So something worth bearing in mind. I've just put a print statement in here so I can see that it's updated with the headers. This is just overriding, this is my functions. This is just doing a get request using the session, but the session will have all of the extra headers in. So that's pretty simple. That's pretty much all it is. Now, as I said, if you don't want to use a class, you don't have to. You can make this all as you need it to be. I wanted to put it in a class just because it was going to be easier for me to go through and explain and show. And now we can import that class into our main.py file, and we can go from there. So I did put this in just to go to Google first. I don't think this is actually necessary. This is something that I left in for the sake of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my main.py file, and we're going to import in our extractor class. We need to do from extractor, import in our extractor class. I think that's all we need. So I'm going to say that our E is going to be equal to the class of extractor. And here's the two URLs. This is the one for the page to go to, the browser page, and this is the one with the API. Now this could be, anything that you wanted it to be. This is just the one with those products on. This is the part, once we've got this working, that we would actually start to change the API URL to try and get more data or less data or more specific data that we want. We're just focusing here on actually getting the headers and the client ID header that we need so that we can make this work. Then I'm just going to call E headers from browser, and I'm going to pass in the browser URL that I need. Ooh. There we go. And now at this point in our code, we will have our session activated with all of the headers that we need in it to be able to make requests. So we should just be able to do our response is equal to e.get, and that's the function that we created with our session, the API URL, and that should be that simple. And then I'm just going to do for item in response.json, and we'll just print the item for the moment, and then we'll just narrow it down so we can actually see. So when I run this now, we should have our browser open up. And a good thing about CamoFox is that it just handles all of the different fingerprints for us. So you might see it in different sizes or whatever, and that's just it's doing it. So let's run it. We need to actually make sure. This is the first time I've done it here, so there we go. Cool, so it's loading up Google, and you can see it's all in it's a different kind of size and whatnot. And then it's going to load up the actual page we were looking at. We'll make this a little bit smaller because there's going to be loads of data on this side of the screen in just a minute. In fact, we can make it like this. I didn't bother with any of the clicking, and that's worked. So I'm going to scroll back up. So in here, these are the headers and the cookies that I pulled out, or rather the headers. And this is what we've updated our session with. So we've got the browser user agent, we've got all of the referrers, we've got the client ID, which is the most important thing. All of this information here. We do have the cookie because that was set. I don't think you needed this, but we set it anyway just by doing it like that. And that's it. Then we were able to make this request where we had this information. So I'll just do, instead of all of this, we'll print out the product ID or something. Actually, what was it called? Just so we can actually see. Item and product ID. And I think name. Again, you can get whatever information you want from here. And, just to show, if we just copy this, let's just say that we were going to make different requests. I'm going to do the same request though, but we'll just do it twice, just so you get the idea that it's working. So again, we can just run this, and now we're going to have to wait a few seconds for our browser to do its thing because we need that data. But once that's done, we should be able to make a decent amount of calls through their API with that client ID that's come from our browser. Now it's worth noting that there you can see it's worked. I'm not doing anything here that my browser isn't doing. I'm basically just, instead of accessing the data through the browser, I'm just loading my browser up, getting the information that it sends over, and then accessing the data that way. In my opinion, that's still perfectly fine. I'm not pulling any information that's behind a login or behind anything that isn't outwardly visible on the main page. I'm merely doing it in a more targeted and quicker and more efficient manner by utilizing what my browser is doing. I'm not so in my opinion it's absolutely fine. So from here, what you would want to do is just update this API URL to whatever you wanted it to be. Go ahead and explore that and find out what you need, and then just make the request using the session. And this should work on quite a lot of sites as well. You might find that some need different bits of information, but generally pulling the headers from the browser is going to work well enough.